welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video, and if you're new here, welcome to my corner of the internet. My name is Claudia. I'm a 27-year-old living in California, just trying to balance out working a 9 to 5, working out, and just enjoying my 20s. I'm currently training for a half marathon, and I figured out a way to make it my entire personality. So if that sounds interesting, go ahead and subscribe so you can follow along. If you're gearing up for your first half marathon or you're looking to improve your running in general, then this is the video for you. Today I'm going to be sharing everything that you need to know in order to train for a half marathon, my tips, my recommendations, my mistakes, and how I balance half marathon training in addition to a 9 to 5. So let's just go ahead and dive into this video. By the end of this video, you will know my exact training plan, my favorite gear, how to stay motivated, and the secret to recovery, so stick around. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me share a little bit about my story with running. First time I ran a half marathon, it was actually kind of accidentally. I went out on a run. I was running long runs of about like 9-10 miles, and I accidentally took the wrong turn and I ended up running 12 miles. At that point, I was like, I can just do 13.1, right? There was absolutely no training. It took me like 2 hours and 45 minutes because I was like walking a lot, trying to like figure out where I was. Like I was not racing, so took it very, very slow. I did not prepare. I did not take any nutrition with me. I had a teeny bit of water that I ran out of. I did not like warm up, cool down. I had no pacing strategy. Of course, like I had nothing because it was an accidental half marathon. After that day, I decided that I was going to complete my first training cycle. So I started a 16-week plan and I still didn't know what I was doing. I still made a lot of mistakes. I still didn't have a proper nutrition strategy. I didn't have a proper pacing strategy. I was kind of burned out by the time I was on mile 10. I was in a lot of pain by mile 12. So there has definitely been a lot that I have learned in between that first training block and now on my 8th half marathon training block. So let me talk about a few of those mistakes that I made so you don't make them. Mistake number 1, skipping rest days. This was actually a mistake that I learned during half marathon training number 4. I would run every single day. Even though I have set my running plan for 5 times a week, I would actually go out and do a workout class. Like I would either do berries or Orange Theory that include running and sprinting, very high intensity workouts on my rest days. Needless to say that I ended up getting injured. I actually got a stress fracture on my shin in addition to shin splint on both legs. I had to take a whole month off of half marathon training. I ended up not being able to achieve my time goal at the race. I was in pain during the race, in pain before and after the race. So I would say that if there's one thing that you're gonna take out of this video is to not skip rest days. They will keep you injury free and they will prevent you from burning out. Mistake number 2. Underestimating nutrition. I didn't realize how important nutrition during your long runs was until I would go out for 7-8 miles, no water, no nutrition. I will come home, I will feel weak, I will feel really cold, and I will start shaking. It took a few runs until I had the genius idea of looking up on Google what was going on. And that's when I realized I was at a point where I needed to take gels, I needed to take candy or whatever you can find with me and consume it while I was running, because the lack of sugar and electrolytes during my runs was actually affecting my performance. Moving on to my half marathon training plan. So here's a sneak peek at what my weekly training plan kind of looks like. At the moment, I'm running 4 times a week. One of them is a long run during the weekends. And my training blocks are usually about 16 to 17 weeks. I like to go into a training plan as if I was starting from zero. So my first couple of weeks are gonna be building weeks. So I'm gonna start with small mileage and try to increase the mileage so that the weeks in the middle, I can actually focus on speed and strength. And then, of course, I have at least 1 month for tapering. So like I mentioned, my plan is a mix of easy runs, speed work, and also long runs. So usually Mondays, it's my rest day. I don't really do much. I might go to the gym and do some strength. I might lift in order to make sure that my glutes, my hamstrings, my calves remain strong. Tuesdays are usually an easy run. This can be anywhere between 30 to 50 minute easy run, depending on where I am in my training plan. Wednesdays is another recovery day. I usually try to cross train on this day. I will either go climbing, I will go hiking, perhaps I will go to a group fitness class. It kind of depends on what I'm feeling and how sore I am. Thursdays and Fridays during the first half of my training plan, it's just another couple of easy runs. And during the second half of my plan, then that's where we start to include stride repeats, speed works, threshold runs, and then also goal pace runs. Saturdays is another recovery day. I always take a yoga class during this day. By this point, I need to do some stretching in order to feel better and ready for Sunday where I go on my long runs. At the beginning of my training plan, my long run was an hour, and now I'm up until like an hour and 45 minutes. And before we move on, I just want to reiterate the importance of cross training. Doing cycling, hiking, taking a cardio class, dancing, wherever it is very important to include cross training in your routine. It gives a break to your legs of the same repetitive movement, but it also helps build your cardio. It will, again, prevent injuries and prevent you from burning out. Now, let's talk gear. A lot of people underestimate the importance of having the right gear, having the right running shoes. I'm definitely one of those people that have several running shoes, and each of them is for a different reason and for a different type of run. I'm actually obsessed with Hoka shoes, and let me walk you through the ones I have. These are the Rincon 3. I actually got them, I don't know, probably like 3-4 years ago. I've actually used them a lot, and they used to be my favorite for long runs. It literally felt like running on clouds. After that, I got these cuties, which are my favorite ones ever. These are the Mach 5. As you can see, let me show you. They're sleek. I've actually run 2 half marathons, and I've raced a 10K in this. I've also obviously went through 2 half marathon trainings with them. These are my absolute favorite for anything that's kind of like a threshold, a goal pace run, and even just racing. I got the Mach 6 for Christmas. My boyfriend actually got them for me. I thought they were going to be very, very similar to the Mach 5, and I would say that I would still wear them for kind of like a faster pace run, sprints, going all out. Like, they're fast and they're very comfortable. And then also, let me just show you something really cute. My roommate actually got me this for Christmas. This little place here, it says just keep running, and then this one says go Claudia. Like, I absolutely love them. I think I'm gonna wear this on my half marathon, so that's why I have them. I just know that I will look down at them and it will just make me smile. In addition to that, I will also recommend getting either a hydration pack, kind of like a belt. You're definitely gonna be so thankful to have water with you when you're going on long runs, especially as we get into the spring, summer, and just kind of like warmer weather. Another thing that you could do, especially for like nutrition, so if you're taking gels with you, gummies, or candy, honestly, you can just have candy. Like, people get like so in their head about the gels, but have you ever tried running with nerve clusters? Like, they work perfectly. I like to go on my long runs with leggings that have pockets on the sides, and then I just stuff them with gels in there. Another thing that could be very useful, but it's not necessary to start running, it's to have a GPS watch. So actually, this is my old watch. This was the Forerunner 245. Had it for 4 years almost. I did all of my previous half marathon training with this watch. Unfortunately, it died, and I had to buy the newer version of it, another Forerunner. I think this one's the 955. It's 4 years of technology advancement in between, so of course this one's so much better. It's definitely a really good investment in your running, especially if you love looking at data and statistics and all of that. Let's dive deep into my running and nutrition strategy. I like doing my runs in the morning, especially my long runs, so I make sure to always have a small snack or a meal. I make sure to always include simple carbs and maybe like a tiny bit of like protein and fat in there. My go-to honestly is just a piece of bread with peanut butter and banana. It gives me the necessary boost of energy without weighing me down. For long runs, like I mentioned earlier, it's very important for me to take nutrition, otherwise I'm gonna end up not feeling great. In addition to that, it's always good to carry water and electrolytes with you in order to replenish your energy after all of that sweating and all of that exercise. And lastly, for nutrition after your run, recovery is just as important as your workout, or even more. After a run, I always make sure to have some protein, some fat, and a little bit of carbs in order to replenish my muscles. There are gonna be days when motivation is just low, you just don't feel like going to the gym, you don't feel like going on a run, and that's totally fine. So I'm gonna give you my biggest secret on how I stay motivated and how I stay consistent. The biggest motivation for me comes from the idea of being at the race, being at the event, and not feeling my best. Feeling weak, feeling that I could have done more during my training cycle, feeling that I just didn't give my 100%. It's truly the regret of not showing up for myself. So every time that I feel like I might just keep this run because I'm not really feeling it, it's too early, it's too late, I just wash my hair, whatever it is, I just think about how guilty I will feel on the day of the race, knowing that that is the reason why I'm not performing today. So in summary, if you're always giving your 100%, you're always giving your best, then there's really nothing to regret. No guilt, no what ifs, just knowing that this is the best version of yourself. Now, probably some of the most important information that I can give you in this video, we're gonna be talking about recovery and injury prevention. Like I mentioned before, rest days are just as important as your running days. I schedule about 1 or 2 days during the week to just let my body recover. That can look like active recovery, just stretching, doing yoga, going on a walk instead of a run. I also try to do some light stretching before and after my runs, and in addition to that, I try to foam roll at night. Sometimes, not always, I'm only human, but if I go farther along on my half marathon training blog, I start to feel my legs getting sore, getting tight and everything, and this is when foam rolling will be very, very helpful if I could just get in the habit of doing it. But I do have all of the little gadgets, so let me just show you. I have this foam roller. I usually do use this for kind of like my glutes and hips area, especially my IT band. I have this one for calves. This has caused me so much pain, especially if you can ask someone to roll your legs. I've screamed, I've cried. And then this is my latest little gadget. This is supposed to be like a foot roller because at some point, for one reason or another, I developed this pain on my foot arc, so that just kind of felt good to like be able to stretch it out. And what was that? And lastly, sleep. And I'm gonna be the biggest hypocrite for saying this. And you know what? Learn from my mistakes. You should get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, especially when you're training. Your body needs recovery. And I say I'm a hypocrite because I haven't been able to get more than 6 hours of sleep in the last week and a half. But there are reasons for that. I have been traveling. I came back from the East Coast to the West Coast. My body clock, it's just a mess. But I will get there. I will get back to 8 hours of sleep. So that's all I got. That's a very deep dive of everything I do while training for a half marathon. For my training plan, nutrition, and recovery tips. I hope this was helpful and it gives you the tools and the motivation to train for your next half marathon, your next marathon, your next 10K, whatever race you have. If you find this video helpful, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, and then also subscribe so you can follow along. And if you made it this far, go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know what race you're training for or what race would you like to train for. Thank you so much for watching, and with that, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!